Today we're going to look at how to graph linear equations from slope-intercept form. So let's look at this equation. We got y equals negative 2x plus 4. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where b is your y-intercept and m is your slope. So if we look at this equation, we can easily identify the slope. The slope of this line is negative 2. The y-intercept is 4. How I think about graphing is I think about B stands for where you begin. I'm going to begin at positive 4 on the y-axis. I'm going to point at positive 4. The slope, the y-intercept is 4. That's where it crosses the y-axis. Now the slope of this line is how you move, or how you find more points. So the slope, remember, you always want to think of it as a fraction. So if it's not a fraction, just put it over 1. So it's negative 2 over 1. Slope is referred to as the rise over the run, or the change in the y's over the change in the x's. So I'm going to begin at positive 4. My rise is negative 2, so that means I'm going to count down 2. 1, 2. And then my run is 1, so that means I'm going to go 1 to the right. So I have a point on this graph right here at 1, 2. If I want to find more points, I can just do it again. Count down 2. 1, 2 over 1 to the right. Count down 2. 1, 2 over 1 to the right. And so forth. Count down 2. 1 to the right. And then just connect all these points. And there's your graph. Notice the graph slants downward. The reason it slants downward is because it has a negative slope. All right, let's look at this one. Y equals negative 2/3 x minus 3. Again, this is in the form y equals mx plus b. All right, so our b is negative 3. That's where I'm going to begin. So I'm going to put a point at negative 3 on the y-axis. Now my slope is negative 2/3. Whenever I have a negative 2 slope, a negative slope, I always like to put the negative number on top. So we got negative 2/3. Well, negative on top means you're going to go down 2 units. And a positive 3 on the bottom means you're going to go 3 units to the right. So from this point here, I'm going to count down 2. 1, 2, and then over 3. 1, 2, 3. And there's my point. But if I try to do it again, I go off the graph. So what I can do if I want to make more points is I could rewrite this as 2 over negative 3. If it's 2 over negative 3, that means I go up 2 units. And then 3 units to the left. So I could go up 2, 1, 2, and then 3 to the left. 1, 2, 3. There's my point. Up 2, 1, 2, over 3, 1, 2, 3. There's my line. That's how you graph when it's in slope-intercept form. All right, the last 2 examples we did, it was easy to graph because the lines were already written in slope-intercept form. Well, in this example, it's written in standard form. So to graph it, you're going to have to do a little bit of work. To graph it, what you're going to do is you're going to solve this equation for y. So what we're going to do to graph it is we're going to subtract 3x from both sides. These cancel out. So now I got negative 2y equals negative 3x plus 6. I'm trying to get the y by itself, so now I'm going to divide everything by negative 2. So we get y is equal to a negative 3 divided by a negative 2 is a positive 3/2. And then 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. So now we can graph it. So we graph this line. I would begin at negative 3. We're pointing negative 3. The slope of this line is 3/2. So I would count up 3. 1, 2, 3 over 2 to the right. Up 3. 1, 2, 3, 2 to the right. And so forth. And then we can always do the opposite. You can go down 3. 1, 2, 3, 2 to the left. There's your line. All right. Let's look at this problem. This is a little different. It's the opposite of what you just did. We're given the graph. I want you to write the equation. Okay? I want you to write an equation for the line graphed over there. We want to write it in y equals mx plus b. So to write it in this form, we need the y-intercept and we need the slope. So if you got the graph, just look at the graph. Where does the graph cross the y-axis? It crosses right here at this point 3. So the y-intercept is 3. So I'm going to put a plus 3 in place of b. Now, all I need to do is just find my slope. Well, to find the slope, you need 2 points. Any 2 points. It doesn't matter which 2 points you pick, as long as they're on the graph. Okay? So I'm going to use this point here and this point. I'm going to start at one of the points. And I'm always going to count my vertical change first. So if I start here at this point, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. I went up 4, so that's a positive 4. And then I go over 1 to the left. Whenever I go to the left, that's a negative. So the slope of this line is 4 over negative 1, which is negative 4. So there's my equation.